Okay, thank you very much for joining us today. I have Renee Petula from my office, and we're going to have a chat today about birth injury claims, which is an aspect of medical negligence. And so we'd like to have a discussion with you today as to how we see the law, and what we would like to give you is some information on this area of the law.
So birth injury claims are quite complex. So what would you say makes them this complex, and it's such a complex area of the law?
Well, Renee, we start with a basic proposition that the birth of a child is not a guaranteed perfect event in the natural development of our species. Being born is a high-risk event, and delivering a child that is perfect, healthy, is something that is a complicated matter for the medical profession.
Yeah,
that's where we start with, really.
Yeah. So what would you say are some of the most common birth injuries that you see that result in a claim? A number of factors that go into the types of claims that we see. One is that there is a concern when the delivery of the child is taking a long period of time and the mother's getting tired, and the concern is whether or not the child's going to be born naturally. So in the past, we would see lots of times doctors start to use various drugs which can help or augment the delivery process. Those drugs, if used inappropriately, were leading to injuries to the child. That's the first factor we saw. We also had that difficulty with forceps for a while, where people were using forceps to assist in the delivery of the child, and that led to damage to the brain of the children at times. That's another aspect. And then there is the actual delay process where the child gets entangled in their own umbilical cord, and necessary oxygen to the child is deprived for any period of time. So the whole process of coming out from the womb is a difficult aspect. So the birth injuries usually occur in that process of coming out. So how does a lawyer go about assessing whether or not there was negligence in that sort of baby being born and coming out of the womb, and whether it was just something that was an event that just went wrong for no reason, sort of thing?
Well, we first look at the type of injury that the person is complaining about that has occurred, and to see whether or not that's the type of injury that normally arises from a error in the birth process. Some birth defects are not related at all to the birthing process, and they're just natural genetic events. So if you can then say, well, look, there is an aspect that this could have occurred by reason of some error in the delivery of the child, then you have to ask yourselves, okay, let's do our homework. Let's get the medical records in. Let's see what the doctors in the hospital are saying has occurred, and then we'll see the first step. What does the record say? And if there's any indication that there was some type of error, delay, mistake, then we turn to experts within the field. We turn to medical experts to guide us and ask, is there any error that you can identify? And is the error related to the injury that we're complaining about?
So if you were able to prove that some kind of negligence occurred, what kind of benefits will be available to the family and the child that's been involved in this kind of really sad situation?
The benefits are massive, Renee. A birth defect child can be a tremendous challenge to a family, both financially and emotionally. Time commitments, compensation for an error in that delivery process, in having to live with a child with a birth defect, can be quite supportive. It can give them compensation for the rest of that child's life. And that can change the circumstances of a family from being quite depleted and destroyed to one at least they can survive this event and hopefully still enjoy their life with that child.
Yeah, so I mean, these claims are really sad, and they definitely would take a toll on the family and the child that's involved as well. So what would you sort of suggest as the next point for someone that thinks there's negligence that's occurred in the birth of their child?
Well, first, I think there's a process where they have to come to terms with that, and there'll probably be a bit of anger and sadness. And then eventually they need to come to see a lawyer like myself. They need to come to someone that they can trust, someone who will look after them and their family, and someone will give them an honest answer as to whether a claim exists, whether compensation can be achieved, and more importantly, if that is possible, whether the compensation being offered by the insurance companies involved is fair for their claim.
Great, thank you. That was really informative, Henry.
Thank you very much, Renee. Have a good day, everyone.